Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 11 of our 1986 F1 series, coming to you from the Hungaroring near Budapest. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this evening. Drivers have just completed their qualifying session and they're now in the warm-up, as you can see. Let me run down the top 10 for you just as time expired. In first place on the grid is Richard Coxon driving a Williams this evening. We'll talk more about that later, with a time of 1 minute 24.757. In second, Jules Bouchard in Lotus, and that's only 0.8 of a second back. Third, Grant Radal. Fourth, John Team. Fifth, Tim Hilla. Sixth, Gabriel Del Piccolo. Seventh, Ray Radal. Eighth, Francisco Amaral in the other Williams. Ninth, Anders Nilsson. And 10th, Juha Boss. Those are the top 10 going into today's race. So, before we go any further, it's my sad duty to report to all of you the loss of one of our close friends. And I'll begin by reading an announcement that Dave Miller posted on our forum only yesterday. It reads, hello everyone. I felt I should let everyone know Angel May passed suddenly and unexpectedly in her sleep today, far before her time. At the moment, I don't know any of the hows or whys. I know she loved racing here at ISO, and she enjoyed chatting with many folks associated with the league. Honestly, right now, I don't know what I should be feeling, but I just wanted, or he says he just thought that he should say something. Dave, I know that I speak for the entire ISO community when I say that we offer our deepest condolences to you, your family, and Angel's family. And I can only echo what has been shared by others on our forum. We will indeed all remember Angel fondly. She was a warm and friendly part of our community. She was always enthusiastic, always cheerful, and she was a continual reminder to us of the true reason why we are all here. To connect with and enjoy time with those who not only share the same passions we do, but also make our lives better through the simple act of friendship. And Angel personified that. It now falls upon us to continue with the same joyful spirit that she brought to our league. I'd like everyone who's watching on YouTube to join me and join our league in a moment of silence so that we can remember our dear friend, Angel May. Thank you. It's very hard for us to continue under these circumstances, obviously. But as you can see, Dave Miller is on track, and he's doing his very best to carry on. And in that spirit, so will we. So let me bring up the volume of the cars here, and we'll get situated for this broadcast. So, talk about a big difference in tracks. We come from the Hockenheim Ring, which is a true cathedral of speed. And we're coming into a circuit that is twisting and turning and set in a natural amphitheater in Hungary's Pest County. This is a historically significant track because it was the first Grand Prix to be held in the Iron Curtain at this circuit. Or behind the Iron Curtain, I guess is the verbiage of the day. The merits of the Hungaroring as a race circuit, however, they have been the subject of debate for quite some time. Some would argue that the constant corners and short straights make overtaking very difficult here, if not outright impossible. If you canvass a cross-section of our drivers, I'm sure you're going to get a polarizing set of viewpoints on the track, and I would guess that those viewpoints would likely be influenced by the type of car that our drivers are traversing the Hungaroring with. The Lotus Renault, for example, is a car that is very nimble and should probably feel at home on a circuit like this that's really tight and twisty. On the other hand, you've got cars like the Brabham BMW, which are clearly designed for high-speed circuits, and they may find the circuit very, very awkward to traverse. So, the obvious question for us is, will we see a processional race this evening? I do not know, but we'll find out over the next 77 laps. We're going straight to the race session. We had a bit of an internet issue earlier, which is why we started a bit late. My apologies for that. But we are going to go straight to the race session now. Although it says that Jules is on the pole, which is not correct. So we may end up having to go back to, let's see, we may have to reset the warm-up, in which case I've got a few more things I can share. Yeah, we're going back to the warm-up, okay. Well, let's take a look at the driver's points while we have a moment here, and the constructor's points since we're resetting the grid. Jules Bouchard has a really commanding lead now. He's in the lead with 51 points. Juha Boss is in second with 34 points. Jonathan Asserclinth is in third with 29 points. Fourth is Ray Berdahl with 24, and then right behind him is David Saber with 23. Constructors' points currently, Scuderia Ferrari in the lead with 63 points. John Player's Special Team Lotus is in second with 58. Marlboro McLaren International is in third with 47. Fourth is Equipe Ligier with 29 points. And then Motor Racing Developments is in fifth with 19 points. I can remember a time when Equipe Ligier was struggling to even break into the top five, and now they're fourth. So things can change rather quickly in this series. Coming up at ISO, the next race in this series, round 12 of 16, is going to be the Grosser Preis von Österreich, the Austrian Grand Prix, and that will be on Sunday, July 23rd. Race starts at 2000 CEST. We'll be on the air at 1945, providing that the internet will allow it. So keep that in mind. Trivia question for all of you to think about tonight. Mercedes engines have won the Hungarian Grand Prix a record 13 times. Which engine manufacturer is second to Mercedes with 9 Hungarian Grand Prix wins? Remember, we're talking about engine manufacturer, not constructor of a car. Is it A, Renault, B, Ferrari, or C, Honda? We'll have the answer for you later in the broadcast. So I guess cars are going for a slightly extended warm-up here since we're getting the grid in order. There's Jules right there. Jules Bouchard, as you saw in the graphics there, has solidified his grip on the championship points lead and will be looking to pad that lead this evening. And as we've already indicated, he has the car, in theory, to get the job done. The Ligier team represents the most logical challenge to the Lotus team in that they also have a nimble car with a Renault power plant, so we may see that. But also, Ferrari is in need of a good result here to improve their standing in the championship. So, despite the nature of the track, this could be a very competitive race. There's also the possibility that the Hungaroring will serve as a competitive equalizer of sorts. What I mean by that is that top-end speed is not nearly as important here as it is at other tracks. Maneuverability and driver skill will be at the forefront this evening, which may cancel out the power deficiencies of some of the midfield cars. So maybe look for the Haas Lolas or the Tyrrell drivers to assert themselves in this environment. An important note for teams to consider ahead of this race, we alluded to it earlier. Richard Coxon has moved from the Benetton team to the Williams team. He'll be driving Nigel Mansell's famous Red 5 entry. His former full-time place at Benetton has not yet been filled, but the number 19 car will be driven by Fernando Portiero as a one-off for this race. Coxon's info as far as the track is concerned: any compound can do the race distance. Tires will be the biggest challenge here due to the high temperatures. Check track temperature too, as that will play a big factor. Expect hard or medium tires. Pit stops 1 to 2. Fuel should not be a big issue, and he thinks brakes will not be an issue, interestingly. We'll go through car updates as things progress in the race, but the only car to receive a significant upgrade in terms of power for the engine in the race is Benetton. Their engine power goes up to 895 brake horsepower from previously it was 884. It's interesting that their power would go up right as Coxon leaves the team. But in any case, Coxon being on the pole today is going to throw an interesting twist into this series that has been dominated mainly by the driver you see on screen right here in Jules Bouchard. We'll see who can get to the first corner first. And when we talk about the track itself, let's see if we can find somebody who's just about to start a lap. Then we can have a look at the Hungaroring. I believe this is Luciano Rocha. He's about to complete a lap. Yes. Luciano's heading to the final turn on the circuit. And it's a right-hander. Oops. Well, I have to find somebody else, I guess. This is Tim Hilla. He's heading to the next to last corner. We'll see if he can take us for a ride around the Hungaroring. And it'll give you a good sense of how tight this circuit is and how difficult it is to pass or find an opportunity. In fact, I watched the 1990 edition of this race not long ago, and there were 2 accidents at the same corner where desperate overtaking maneuvers were taken. So here we go, starting the lap, heading down this hill. This is the best overtaking opportunity right here, going into this first right-hand semicircular bend, heading downhill. Some drivers may try an outside pass here to set themselves up for this corner number 2 right here. That might present an interesting overtaking opportunity. Now back to the right for another right and left-hand complex. This got removed later on in subsequent Hungarian Grand Prix. Now heading on to a very short straight. You can see how the circuit fades slightly to the right and back to the left. There's a few blind sections here that make muscle memory important. But you can see how it literally is one corner after another after another. There's very little opportunity for the drivers to use the power they have to get alongside anybody. And indeed, like I mentioned before, it may promote frustration amongst the drivers, and it may force them into making mistakes in trying to overtake somebody. So hopefully we won't see that, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it happens. And it's just, you can see the description here of the car being basically hamstrung by the confines of the circuit. We're heading back now towards the paddock area, a left-hander semicircular that leads uphill into the final turn, which is a right-hander semicircular, similar to the first turn, and that will be one lap of the Hungaroring. See the flashes there on the bottom for the start, and that is one lap. So it's going to be a challenge for these drivers. And really, if you're someone being pursued by somebody else, all you have to do is place your car slightly offline and it'll make it impossible to pass. We'll see how either we're going to have processional parts of this race, or we're going to have situations where people come up with really, really innovative ways to overtake. But we'll see how that goes during the race itself. So drivers to keep in mind, well, there's John. He's probably getting used to just the power of the car in these race conditions. Del Piccolo qualifying in the top 10 once again. He had a disconnection, I believe, at Hockenheim, which kept him from winning the race. He was leading for a good portion of it, so he's going to be looking to not have that happen again. Checking his internet connection, I'm sure, making sure that it's as solid as it can be. But we'll be definitely keeping an eye on him during the race, because I would think that even though the nature of his car is not correct for this track, it's not the ideal situation, something tells me he's going to come to the front. We'll have a look. And there, of course, is Dave Miller. I guess Dave right now is subscribing to the axiom that work is the best tonic. Oftentimes when we're faced with a difficult life situation, burying yourself or immersing yourself in a task is one of the best ways of coping, at least initially, and that appears to be what Dave is doing. So he's soldiering on, we're soldiering on. That's basically all the more I can say about that. Cars heading for the garage here. Apparently we're preparing for a start here. There must have been an announcement that said we're going to start in a few minutes here. But in any case, it'll be very interesting to see who can get to the first turn first. And even if that's the case, it may be a different story on the following turn 2, between Bouchard and Coxon. So we'll see what happens here. I'm assuming that we're going to a race session. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Thank you, everybody on YouTube, for the well wishes for Dave and for Angel's family. We really appreciate that. Obviously, this is going to be a little less of an animated broadcast, but we are doing our best to carry on. Yeah, everybody's in the garage here, so apparently Yuha is going to pull the switch in a minute here, and we're going to go straight to the race session. So stand by. Okay. And we have Coxon on the pole, so it looks like we're ready to go. Just a reminder real quickly, this is a 77-lap race covering this 4.014 kilometer permanent road circuit. That's a distance of a little over 305 kilometers. And you can see the first turn there and last turn are both semicircular. The best overtaking opportunity here again is going to be at the first turn, and you may see drivers trying outside passes to position themselves for the second turn, which is back to the left. That's another possibility. Besides going on the inside, you may try a sweeping outside pass. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. And then drivers will have to be super ingenious about how they try to overtake on other parts of the circuit, if at all possible for them. So, all right, heading to the grid now. And we're off and running now. So here, let's go on the sighting lap and to give you the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix. On the pole, Richard Coxon in his new drive for Williams Honda. In second, Jules Bouchard, Jean Player, Special Team Lotus. In third, Grant Riddall, Motor Racing Developments. Fourth, John Team Equipe Ligier. Fifth, Tim Hilla, Benetton Formula. Sixth, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Motor Racing Developments. Seventh, Ray Riddall, Marlboro McLaren International. Eighth, Francisco Amaral. This is one of his better qualifying efforts for Canon Williams Honda. Ninth is Anders Nilsson in the Team Haas USA entry. 10th, Juha Boss. Surprisingly low qualifying spot for Ferrari. 11th is Giovanni Centorami for Data General Team Tyrrell. In 12th, Cesare Slipinski in the other Haas entry. 13th is David Saber from Marlboro McLaren International. 14th, Oscar Team Equipe Ligier. 15th, Luciano Rocha in the other Lotus. 16th, Brian Janik, West Zach Speed Racing. 17th, Jonathan Asserklin, Scuderia Ferrari. 18th, Mikkel Drexler, Data General Team Tyrrell. 19th, Fernando Portiero in his guest drive for Benetton. 20th, Dave Miller, Ocella Squadra Course. 21st, Bruno Chacon, Barclay Arrows BMW. 22nd, Mark Whitman, also Barclay Arrows BMW. And rounding out the field, well, actually, we have one more. Alan Santo, 23rd for Minardi Team. And 24th, I believe the final car on the grid, is Dario Appa for Ocella Squadra Course. That is your grid. Coxon bringing them up to the line in a very slow pace. Doesn't want to stay on the grid any longer than he has to. He doesn't want to cook that Honda engine, but he definitely must be thinking about what is going to transpire before the first turn. Who is going to get the better jump? What is Bouchard going to do? And will there be a surge from Grant Riddall from the second row, or indeed from John Team? So mysteries abound as we head for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Let me see if I can find another viewpoint here down the track. Yeah, this is good. I'm going to use this one, and that will give us a very nice long view of what's going on here as the cars enter the first turn. So you'll forgive the lack of a race start graphic. So cars are pulling into their positions. There we go. And there's starters' orders, so stand by for the start now of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And the race is underway. Foreshortened shot here, but it appears as if everybody's getting away okay. Richard Coxon in the lead here, heading towards the first turn. And as we pull out to look, it is indeed Richard Coxon taking the lead. Everybody fanning out here, trying to get through. Bruno Chacon, last car away. And look at that, Bouchard having a challenge from John Team on the outside in turn 2, but it looks like Bouchard is going to maintain his spot. No, wait a minute. John Team's still fighting back, but no, through this section here that snakes back and forth, it appears that Bouchard will hang on to his position. Here they come up the hill after that snaking section. Richard Coxon in first. Bouchard is in second. John Team in third. Tim Hill is in fourth. Juha Boss fifth. And here you can see one of the problems that all these drivers will have to deal with, the very awkward nature of this circuit, the constant corners. At times people are going to have to exercise incredible patience just to get around here. But look at this. Here is Bouchard already challenging Coxon for the lead, but it was a great start by Coxon. Good start by everybody up front, really. It wasn't. It didn't look like anybody gained a huge advantage. Team obviously had an opportunity to overtake Bouchard early, but it didn't really materialize. So here they are now coming around to complete lap number 1 with Coxon in the lead, Bouchard second, John Team in third, Tim Hill at fourth, Juha Boss in fifth. That's actually a fantastic start from Juha, up from 10th on the grid. He gained 5 places on the start. That's incredible. Ray Riddall is in 6th, Oscar Team 7th, Grant Riddall has lost some places, is in 8th, and Del Piccolo is 9th, also lost a few places, and Nilsson is 10th. He started 9th, I believe. Yes. So now the question is, can Bouchard hang with Coxon? Because this combination here of Coxon and the Williams is an unknown quantity. We knew what he could do with the Benetton, but we'll have to see what he can do here with the Williams Honda. As we look now from Jules' camera. Coxon holding his own up front here relatively well. Let's take a look further back in the field. It's kind of a train right now, but look at this right here. Oscar and I believe that is Grant Riddall just behind him, and he is trying to overtake Oscar, as well as Oscar's trying to overtake Ray Riddall. Looking just ahead here, but you can see what a traffic jam it is. It's really hard to even get alongside somebody at this track, let alone pass. Through the last corner here, semicircle, and now back onto the main straight. Oh my goodness, Oscar has a very loose moment. Yeah, touching the curbs here. Oh, and there, that was just enough to let Grant by. That little hesitation and acceleration. So that's another way that you're going to advance your position here. And another car trying to follow through. It's Del Piccolo trying to follow through on the outside, but he can't quite get it done. Oscar successfully defends the inside of the corner. But that's another way that you're going to get by here, is by taking advantage of other people's mistakes, obviously. So in that way, it does have some similarities to street courses. Coxon still in the lead. Bouchard second, Team is in third, Hill at fourth, Boss in fifth. That's an incredible jump from where he was. Ray Riddall is sixth, Grant Riddall seventh, Oscar Team, who we're with, is eighth, ninth is Del Piccolo, 10th is Nilsson. Here's Grant having a look at Ray Riddall, his dad. Interesting to see if he can get alongside and maybe pass, but he's got Oscar right behind him as well. So, and here comes Oscar up the inside having a look, but no, he can't make it happen. Looks like Grant may have had a few bad corners here because he's backing down in terms of following Ray. But again, just because you're faster than the car in front does not mean that you can place it necessarily the way you want to get by. A little bit of daylight opening up now between between Richard Coxon and Jules Bouchard. It's about a second, not very much, but still any gap here is going to be helpful. Del Piccolo now having a look here at Oscar Team. You can see his teammate just ahead. Oscar trying to get around Grant, but it's not going to happen at this corner this time. And then you have to go into this immediate right-hander after this. This section I mentioned before has been removed in subsequent Hungarian Grand Prix, and it's just a right-hander that leads into this straight. So it gives you a little bit more opportunity to pass. But the interesting part about this circuit is you have some corners, like this one coming up, where you turn right. Well, so not this one. I'm thinking of the following one after this one. You come up here to this corner, you turn right, and immediately you have to fade back to the left. It's these little awkward little corners that make traversing this track so difficult for everybody. There's yet another one that's going to be like this coming up in a second here. But back and forth, speed up, slow down. That's going to be the order of the day for this group, I think. Here's another one. Turn right, and then you're immediately fading back to the left. So Piccolo stays in ninth. He's not going to get by anytime soon. Let's see what's going on at the front of the field. It's staying about static right now. Bouchard is losing ground to Coxon. Now it's 2 seconds, the gap. So Coxon seems pretty comfortable with the car and engine combination so far. The real action is going to be further back in the pack here as Grant's following Ray. Oscar team is sandwiched between the two Brabhams, and then we've got Anders Nilsson and Francisco Amaral. Not too far apart, but it looks like, as you can see, most of the cars are spaced apart equal distance. Oh my goodness, here's an interesting scrap between Jonathan Asserclinth, who is in 13th, and 14th is David Saber. Looked like he almost had him there, but didn't quite get it done. Giovanni Centorami in the Tyrrell is just ahead of this group in 12th place. But it looks as if there's a bit of a bottleneck here. Asserclinth would like to get by Centorami, but just can't find the right spot. And meanwhile, here's Saber at the back, who's probably looking for an opportunity if Asserclinth gets balked at any particular point. Setting your car for this track, obviously you want to have it be maneuverability of the highest, and I'm sure the wings are some of the highest that we'll see during the year, as opposed to what we just ran at the Hockenheim ring. But this course demanding, obviously, in the tires, so I would imagine we're definitely going to see stops. Even those who in the past have tried to do a race on no stops, something tells me that's not going to be a choice they're going to exercise in this race. All right, let's see if anything happens here at the end of the straight. Now, Jonathan using that Ferrari power, trying to get by on the inside. Can he do it? He outbrakes, or he tries to outbrake Centorami, but no. Well, now he's getting alongside, but he's kind of in the wrong place, actually, for this corner. Centorami's going to try to come back on the inside. They do so, but look at that. Asserclinth is able to skate by on the outside. Brilliant overtaking maneuver. I think there he was, oh, no, whoa, here comes Centorami back, but he's on the wrong side of the track now to assert himself, and I think Asserclinth will finally solidify that spot, yes. I think that was the case there of Jonathan using the boost at his disposal to get by, and there goes, oh my goodness, David Saber has gone off the track, ran out of room there, and he's going to have to rejoin. That's going to... Looks like he won't lose much track position, but that's unfortunate. So yeah, I think that was the case there of Asserclinth using the boost that he had available and the extra power of the Ferrari engine just on that straight. But it's a short straight. You don't have a lot of room. As now, oh my goodness, he slides there a bit. As now Rocha is looking to overtake Centorami. As we look back from Centorami at Luciano Rocha. God, he's weaving back and forth looking for any daylight he can. And there is the potential that our drivers this evening are going to get very, very frustrated at this circuit and might actually do something. Oh, there's a yellow flag here. Not sure what that means. Maybe someone entering. Oh, no, there's a car on the pit road. What is that? It's one of the Brabhams, I believe. It's Grant Riddall. Grant Riddall had an issue of some kind, so we're going to have to have a look here and see in replay what actually happened. I'm going to run it back here some, but he's parked against the wall, so he spun, it looks like. Let's have a look here at what happened. So he's already down a ways, but here he comes into the last turn. I don't see any kind of a spin here, so it's really interesting. I wonder what went wrong here. Perhaps a hardware problem of some kind. He slides a bit there, and then he brings the car to a stop. Maybe he had some kind of a hardware issue with his wheel or his pedals or something that he had to correct. But that is a very unusual situation to just come to a halt like that. But he was able to keep the car out of everybody's way, which was good. And then he rejoins the race. But the only thing I can guess is that he had some kind of a hardware issue there. But he is now back on track, 15th place. His teammate is in 7th, Gabriel Del Piccolo, which is about where he started, roughly. Amaral is in 6th, or I'm sorry, in 9th. 8th is Anders Nilsson. 7th is Oscar Team. Ray Riddall soldiering on in 6th place. 5th is Boss, same place he was after the start. Hill is in 4th. Team is in 3rd, so this is a pretty good cluster right here. Jules is running by himself in 2nd place, and obviously Coxon by himself. The gap is now 5.6 seconds. But Team has got a train of cars lining up behind him here, and at some point, somebody's going to get frustrated or somebody's going to get antsy and try to overtake here. We mentioned that the Benetton has an increase in speed or horsepower for this particular Grand Prix, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if Hilly uses that to try to get by John here at some point. We know that one overtaking place that is possible at the end of the straight at turn 1, but I don't know. We'll see if you know the other circuit that's very similar to this one. Now that I think about it, Jarama in Spain is very similar. One radius corner after another, and very, very hard to get by. There was one race in Jarama where Gilles Villeneuve beat 5 of their cars to the line. As another yellow flag is apparent. Not sure what this is for. Nothing apparent on the screen. In any case, let's see if Hill is able to. No, he's behind too far, but it's definitely going to be a situation where you set up the car in front and you try to place yourself in the inside, brake a little bit later, and that's enough to get by. So, and there's Team actually running wide. That was a bit of a mistake from him, but he stays in 4th place. He didn't lose a spot. As here they come through the next series of turns, but these 3 cars in a freight train, and definitely Juha is going to be looking for an opportunity here if Team or Hilla or both of them make some kind of mistake. Here's Team having another look, or I'm sorry, that was Hilla, but it's you can see the problem here as we head around. I've already described it ad nauseum, but visually now you can see it. Coming through a little bit of curb there from Juha. You don't want to do too much of that because it could give the driver behind you an opportunity. Here they come up to the final turn. Let's see if Hill is able to get better purchase than John. It looks like he does. Oh, John gets off the corner very loose. This is Hill's opportunity. Maybe, but John reaches down for that boost knob, which he has just as much access to as Hilla does, and defends himself going into the corner. We said that fuel's not going to be a problem, but definitely you don't want to be boosting every time you come down that straight. It's not like push to pass an Indy car. You don't want to do that. You're going to use up more fuel than you should. Heading through this very, very tight section. And we're expecting 1 stop pretty much from everybody, I would think. 2 seems a bit extreme, and 0 I don't think is a good idea on a circuit like this because of how much the tires are going to be taxed. It's not like Hockenheim where you're just bringing the car to a stop, provided you don't flat spot the tires. That may be a possibility. You could go the whole race without tire change, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. Riding with Tim Hilla, looking at John Team, trying to find a way by, but definitely a difficult situation. And while these guys go around processionally, Coxon has a clear road in front of him and is just pulling out a very substantial, solid lead over Jules Bouchard. So really, it may come down to who has the best pit stop in this race to see who ends up on top. That may be where the bulk of the action is in this race. We don't know. But there you can see there was a slight fade from Juha, just showing Tim that he's there, making him aware. And there goes Oscar Team on the inside of Juha. That was probably not something Juha was expecting. And Oscar Team goes up into into fifth now, and Juha's down to sixth. Let's take a look at that again. That was a pretty cool piece of driving there from Oscar, as he shoots down the inside, brakes later. And I don't think Juha was expecting that. It was a bit of a surprise. And Oscar's able to move up one spot. Very nice overtaking maneuver there from Oscar Team, which brings him into the top five. Now his next target is Tim Hilla, who's in fourth. And look at that. There's that's actually not a pass for position. There are cars now. Here's another thing that's going to make the day a headache for a lot of people. As, oh my goodness, Oscar loses a position there. Two, in fact, because he ran onto the grass. So the slightest error there is going to be costly for any drivers. Now Oscar's trying to retaliate against Anders Nilsson. But looking back now, we see that Ray is getting back into the foray here and into the battle. And as they start coming up on slower cars, that's definitely going to throw a spanner into the works, as Jonathan might say. Here's Oscar boosting now, coming up the inside, trying to get Nilsson on the entrance into turn one, but cannot get it done. Nilsson slams the door. That's his line. He has the right to keep it, but here's Oscar. Oscar actually got boxed in there by Dave Miller as he was trying to get by Anders. He had a pass all set up, ready to go, and then he realized he was boxed in by the Acela. So that's frustrating, I'm sure. But in any case, it looks like there's a spin back there. One of the Barkley Arrows is having an issue, but it looks like we'll be able to rejoin without too much trouble, as Oscar still has designs on getting his sixth place back from Nilsson. He lost, he wasn't fifth before, but an error running onto the grass gave him a two position deficit there. So now he's going to try to, but really, it looks like he has the speed to get by Anders. He just needs to look for the right spot. He almost had him on the front straight. You do not want to touch these curbs if you can avoid it, because you can see how tall they are in this shot. As Oscar is now looking for a possibility here. He's definitely setting up, or trying to set up Anders for the first turn and get by. Yeah, definitely. He's pushing as hard as he can to get a good exit here off of this corner. Coming down now, and he's likely going to reach down, crank the boost, and now try to get by. There he goes. Down the inside. Is he going to make it stick this time? Nilsson holding the outside. They're side by side heading into turn one. Nilsson trying to hang on, but he cannot. Oscar gets through into sixth place. Nilsson's only real recourse there was going to be to hold the outside line and then take him on turn two, but he couldn't do it. The power of that Renault was just too much versus the Ford. So now Oscar finds himself faced with Juha Boss, one red card to another one. But some interesting tactics so far in this race on a track that really does not offer you many opportunities to do much of anything. You have to invent opportunities, and you have to be resourceful and innovative. I guess that is what this track demands of everybody. So here is Coxon completing lap 13 into lap 14 out of 77. Still a ways to go. Bouchard is in second, and he's looking okay. I don't think he's worried too much about... he's pretty much resigned himself to the fact that Coxon is the faster package today. And he's going to try to get him in the pits when the pit stops are concerned. John Team holding on in third place with Tim Hill in fourth, Boss in fifth, and Oscar, you see, is still there trying to advance places. He's probably the car that's advanced and lost the most places in the first few laps, if you don't count Juha. So here's Oscar. He's a bit too far back to attempt anything right now. So he's just going to probably stay in line and look for another opportunity in the next lap or two. Nilsson's in seventh. Eighth is Ray Riddall. Ninth, Francisco Amaral. 10th is Gabriel Del Piccolo. So not the best day for the Brabham team. We already saw that incident with Grant where he apparently had some kind of a hardware or software issue and had to pull to the side of the track to get it sorted out. And he rejoined. He's still all the way down in he's about 13th. So he's gained 2 places since that happened. But not a good day for Brabham so far. And the grid positions to start the race, the top driver for Ferrari was in 10th on the grid in the form of Juha, but Juha jumped 5 places at the start. So this isn't the best track for Ferraris, that's for sure. It looks like it's much more favorable to cars like the Ligier and the Lotus, especially in the hands of Bouchard, but Coxon definitely has set up his Williams in a way that suits him as a driver and suits this circuit. So we'll see if he can hold the lead through the pit stop and possibly come away with his first F1 win of the season. Nilsson struggling to hold on now to Oscar, but this group getting spread out again. There are not many opportunities here to overtake, as here actually there's Del Piccolo 7th. Saw a little dust there, got kicked up by Asserklint, but it looks like Del Piccolo might be looking to get by Francisco Amaral here in a bit. This twisty section here, which really is processional, there's not much opportunity to do anything here unless someone makes an error. Again, you can see those curbs there. They're very tall. Definitely not a situation where you want to run up on those. As Amaral makes a slight error there on acceleration, but he manages to hold on really well. Not much trouble. There's some dust getting kicked up by cars in front. That's another thing. You don't want that to distract you. Gabriel now looking at Amaral here, looking for an opportunity to get by. But it's funny because even assuming he does, he's going to find himself just in that train of cars. And just a stressful situation as he is now. So it's sometimes the best thing to do is just watch points and wait for an opportunity. But you can see how Amaral makes a mistake. He runs onto the grass there, and that promotes Gabriel to 9th place. Let's look at a replay of that. That's another way you advance here, like we talked about. OPP, other people's problems. And here it comes. He runs onto the grass there just now. There, see, he ran off onto the grass. Actually, Amaral lost 2 places there, lost the position to Asserklint as well. So Del Piccolo now rides in 9th place, with Riddall in 8th. Nilsson actually is closing back up to Oscar now. Working lap 16 out of 77 is Coxon. And here's Tim Hilla possibly looking to get by John Team. The interesting part about this is that there's a back marker just in front. That was Dario, but actually he got right out of the way, made no trouble for anybody. So John now is... doesn't have to worry about that so much, but he's got Hilla breathing right down his back, and Juha Boss, and Oscar Team in a freight train behind him. He's 23 seconds behind Jules here, so clearly Jules has got a good setup. His car is operating very well, and John is basically driving in a defensive posture the whole way around here. Can't think about what's in front of him. He's always thinking about what's behind him. It's interesting. This is one of the rare times that we see both the Ligiers in the same shot. You don't often see that, but there, right back there, is Oscar, and John Team is in front of this train, and Oscar's kind of at the back. There's Oscar. But everything seems to have settled down to some extent now, at least among this group. Centorami faded back to 13th here, so yeah, and then you got David back in 15th. So it's if you run into a situation where here's Bouchard encountering some slower cars. This is Janik in one of the Zach speeds, and then another Tyrrell right in front here. And actually, these two are having their own little battle here, it appears. That's Janik, 17th, overtaking. No, that was not for position, believe it or not. Or was it? Was that Drexler? Yes, it was. That was for position. But now Bouchard has passed these two, so now Janik is fighting. It looks like he's got some rear wing damage there a little bit. Yeah, he does have a slightly bent right end plate on the rear wing that's causing him issues, but he's definitely in a battle here with Drexler for 17th. Dario is continuing on. There's Dave in 20th place right now. Bruno Chacon 21st. Mark Mitwin 22nd. 23rd is Santo. And out of the race, first one out of the race at 9 laps was Schlapinski. We missed that. In any case, but the lead now is 23 seconds, so Coxon is definitely hooked up. His car is set up very well for this track, and he's gelling with it very well. So we'll see if he can maintain this dominance through the race. Bouchard hanging in there, but he's got a big gap there. Oh my goodness, there's some issues back here with cars. What's going on there? It appears that's Drexler making room for a bunch of cars. So perhaps it looks more dramatic than it actually was. But Oscar actually is 5th now. It looks like somebody slid down the order quite a lot. It was Hilla, so let's have a look at that in a replay. Hilla had some kind of a problem here to run it back, because he basically is giving up lots of spots. Oh yeah, he ran off the circuit here. And I wonder if this has anything to do. There's another car there in the trap. Let's look at it from Hilla's point of view. Heading into the first turn. Drexler in the middle of the circuit, which, so that's what caused it. It caused Tim to go to the left, and also you saw, I think that was Janik off the left there. So yeah, that would explain what happened to Tim right there. He just, he was faced suddenly with a derelict car, and he had to make a decision, and that decision unfortunately took him off the track, but at least he can continue. Here's Oscar working on Juha very hard as they come into the start-finish area. Is he going to make an attempt to overtake? Yes, he is. He goes to the inside. He is fully alongside Juha. Goes into the corner and takes 4th place from Juha Boss. So that's Oscar's mastering the overtake on the front straight. And he now is running behind his teammate and family member, John. Very well executed. That's how you get it done around here in the absence of somebody else making a mistake, is to just motor on by on the straight. But that's not always going to be the available to everybody. You have to have your car placed absolutely right. You cannot be several car lengths back and do that kind of maneuver. You have to be right on their doorstep, ready to go at any opportunity. And sometimes people come off of that corner a little bit squirrely, and that just adds to the opportunity for you to get by. And Oscar very solidly is in 4th place now, and team is in 3rd. So the Ligier team seems to be doing pretty well so far today. Things going according to plan. Bouchard probably wishes he was a lot closer to Coxon, but Coxon definitely did his homework before this race. There's no question about that. And now it looks as, oh my goodness! Oh! There goes! That was John Team making a mistake, and we'll have to look at that in a replay. My goodness. He was doing fine. Came into this corner here, and I think maybe just a little bit too much power, and the car slipped around on him like that, and that just let all kinds of cars go by. My goodness. So his brother is now in third place. He was lucky not to hit anything, actually, so John Team continues. But look at that. He's all the way down to 9th place. He lost 6 positions just like that. Goodness. Very, very unforgiving track, this Hungaroring, when you make a mistake. Everybody just motored right on by. So the question now, we have, and here's Bouchard getting by one of the Acellas. The question now that Oscar is free and clear of this group, is can he eat into the 25-second gap that he has between himself and Bouchard? Tall order. But it'd be interesting to see now that, because he is probably one of the fastest cars on the track so far. At least he's exhibited that with all the overtakes. So now that he's free and clear, I would think that he would start to eat into that 25-second lead that Bouchard has. But we'll have to pay close attention and see when the timing beacon comes along. Coming into the second to last turn. We'll see what the gap is once Oscar crosses the start-finish line, and that'll tell us where we're at in terms of him eating into that lead, if he can do it at all. Comes off the corner, takes a little bit of curb there. That curb is relatively flat, and the gap's 24.7, so he's not really making too much headway. But we'll have to keep an eye on that going forward. And now, more overtaking attempts here. Del Piccolo tried a move on Nilsson there, or he at least showed that he was there. He at least poked his nose there and showed he was there, but he's got cars all around him here. Rush hour traffic here at the Hungaroring. Nilsson actually doing very, very well in 5th place here. Taking advantage of the problems that were experienced by Team, obviously, John, when he went backwards. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, as it looks like we got a pretty close battle here between Jonathan and Ray Radal. Lap 21 now. I would think that the McLaren would not be the best car to drive at this circuit either, because it naturally kind of understeers, and that's not something you want at a track like this. More dust and dirt being kicked up by the cars in front as Del Piccolo looks for an opportunity to get by, and he cannot get alongside Anders Nilsson. He tried that last lap too, and it just didn't quite work. On board now with Del Piccolo as he follows Nilsson. You can see Juha just ahead there. So that's 2 laps in a row that Del Piccolo has attempted that pass on the inside, or at least tried to get his car positioned. He's definitely faster than Nilsson, and perhaps faster than Boss, but he just can't get the placement he needs to get alongside. And all that Nilsson has to do is drive a slightly defensive line. Problem up here. Yellow flag, car off the course, and it is Mark Whitman, who is, oh my goodness, right in the middle of the circuit and causing a bit of a traffic jam there. And is that going to cause problems for the, oh my goodness, look at this. Here's Nilsson using that opportunity to get by. Well, he actually gets by Asserklint there, but he's now in close contact. Well, he was close contact with Boss for a second, but now we're back status quo again. It looks like John Team is in there. Cesario says that his AMS froze and kept synchronizing game until a hard drive reset of his PC. So that's why, as Nilsson heads around the outside of Juha, heading onto the front straightaway, and Juha's counterattacking now on the inside. This is not over. Juha looks like he might have placement. No, Nilsson manages to hang on to 6th place. So great, great. Oh my goodness! As the car has just gone off, it is John Team, and he gets back on. Asserquinth also had some kind of a difficulty there. Let's take a look at a replay of that. Yeah, John Team goes for the inside. He got his, oh my goodness, he got his tires on the pit apron. I don't think that's what caused him to spin out, but he just went in a bit too hot into the corner, and thankfully both cars can continue. Asserquinth managed to get rolling ahead of John there. Now heading by Portiero, who's a lap down, and oh, it appears that Oscar has an issue here. He's lost a front wing, so at some point he's going to have to come in. It's really too bad because he was in 3rd place, and cars are just streaming by him now because he's got no downforce on the front of the car. So that's going to make it really hard to drive around this track at speed. He's going to have to come in for a pit stop. The only real solace for Oscar in this situation is that it may be close enough to what an actual pit stop would be for him. Or not, I don't know. But in any case, he's going to be going for the pits. His team, oh my goodness, there's a, one of the Acellas has spun out, but I believe it's Dave Miller, but thankfully onto the grass. Here comes Grant Riddall into the pits. He's going to make a tire change right now. So this is the first of the pit stops that we've seen. Let's see what he's planning to put on here, as we have another car coming in. Oh, that's John. He's looking at his and we got softs going on here as Grant exits. He's not going to lose too much in terms of track position, I don't think. But back onto the circuit he goes with fresh rubber. That's going to be his only stop, I'm sure. So actually, through all this craziness, Ray Riddall has managed to get himself up to 3rd place. And I think that was due to the craziness that was ensuing with the back markers. In any case, Del Piccolo is now in 4th, Nilsson 5th, Boss in 6th, so he didn't lose too much ground in that melee. Amaral is in 7th, Hilla 8th, and Johnny Ace is in 9th, and 10th is Luciano. So a little bit of a shuffling of the order there, but not too bad. It appears everybody still of the front runners is heading around for another lap. Not anybody going to pit this time, I don't think. That was very poor grammar on my part. My apologies. Amaral doing an excellent job today. He's in 7th place. If he can keep that thing rolling, he may have his first. I don't think he's had a points finish yet in this series. He certainly has been quick enough to get one, but it'll be interesting to see if he can keep the car rolling and possibly score some points at the end of the day for Williams Honda. His teammate, his new teammate, Coxon, certainly is making the most out of the opportunity he has leading this race since the beginning. Del Piccolo seems to be closing here on Ray Riddall, and so is Nilsson, so this could develop into an interesting battle here with Bouchard still way up the road from this group. 34 seconds up the road from this group, in fact. So this looks like the hottest battle on the circuit at the moment, or the most interesting one. Look at Del Piccolo reel in Ray Riddall. This is going to get hot in a second here. And kudos to Del Piccolo doing the best he can with a car that frankly is not designed for this course. And for that matter, Ray, I don't think his car is the best for this course either. Everybody's staying out. No one going to pits yet, so that pit stop by Grant was seemed a bit anomalous. It was a bit early, but in any case, heading down into turn one more time. Ray seems safe in this instance. Plenty of daylight between himself and Del Piccolo. But Del Piccolo seems to be faster than Ray on the backside of the course. We'll see how things develop here. Just a reminder for all of you, the next race in this series is coming up on Sunday, July 23rd. That is the 12th round of this series, the Austrian Grand Prix, which is always a fun event. The old Österreich ring before it was butchered by Hermann Tilke. Beautiful circuit, always fun to drive, no matter what car you're driving. Race will start at 2000 CEST, will be on the air at 1945, hopefully. So the order remains static at the moment. Ray in third place, rising up the standings thanks to some altercations that he managed to avoid. And Del Piccolo, I think, fair to say, same situation. Juha falling back to sixth, and Anders asserting himself. These two that started 9th and 10th respectively on the grid, Nilsson and Boss, now running 5th and 6th. So a great drive from them so far. Yeah, everyone really spread out at this point. Actually, wait, here's a, well, that's for that's a pass to put a lap on Osella, I believe. But it's interesting. After all the excitement with the Team Brothers, John is now running 14th, and Oscar is running 15th. So that's really, it shows you how quickly your fortunes can change in a race when something goes wrong. So Ligier has gone from being in a great position to score some points to basically hoping to pick up the table crumbs at the end of this race. That's really unfortunate for them. Portiero is in 16th place. We mentioned that he's doing a one-off today for the Benetton team. This is not a full-time drive for him, but he's doing okay. The only car out of the race so far is Lipinski. And there are 4 cars that are one lap down. That would be Whitman, Santo, Dave Miller, and Bruno Chacon. The last car in the lead lap is Dario Appa. And you're looking at the 16th place car right now of Portiero. Oh, Oscar has had another incident of some kind. He's running slow. Let's see what happened here. Replay. Oscar in 15th place comes into the corner. And he just gets on the power too soon, just loses it on his own. This is the thing that you want to try not to do as a driver. You want to try not to compound an error that you've made by making more errors. But at least he's able to get the thing rolling again. But clearly, all is not peaches and cream with the Ligier team today. They just turned into a bit of a Hungarian goulash for them, if I do say so. Team continuing on 14th, but probably just trying to suppress. He's actually really fighting that car. I wouldn't be surprised if he heads to the pits at some point here. It looks like his tires might be saying uncle. Not going in that yet, though. There's Amaral getting a little closer to Boss. Maybe potential pass here. Amaral's got to be careful, though. He's got to stay off of these curbs. As you can see what it does, it tends to shoot the car across the track if you're not careful. Good placement off this corner. Oh, Juha actually is going into the pits here. So, one of the first of the leaders here to go into the pits. Juha's going to lose a lot of track position actually here. coming into the pits. He's already down to 8th. He hasn't even stopped yet. Into the pits. And it looks as if he's got B's on there. So, man, this is a long stop. Boss is all the way down to 10th now. Rejoining the circuit, he's probably going to lose at least one more spot. Yeah, he loses 11th to one of the McLarens there. That was David Saber. So, Boss all the way down to 11th now. And so far, it doesn't appear to... Oh, my goodness! There's a... There was a... Looked like it was a... Barclay Arrows going errant there, but hopefully we'll be able to continue. So the order at this point with, oh my goodness, there's more dirt up here. It looks like one of the Ocellas is errant going in, but there's Coxon going by Grant, who's in 9th. This is, so actually with this, there's been a slew of pit stops, it appears, in the middle of the pack, which has put a lot of people one lap down. Coxon now looking at Mark Whitman, who's in 23rd. That'll be 2 laps, actually. He'll be putting on Mark. Or perhaps 3, but in any case, Coxon continuing on. Is he going to go for the pits? No. Or is he? Yes, he is. There he goes. Coxon is heading for the pits now. This will probably be his lone pit stop. We'll take a look, see what he's going to take on in terms of rubber. He obviously made a very good choice in terms of tires leading into this stop. Let's see what he's got now. And he's putting on B's. So apparently B's are the order of the day for most everybody. And he has dropped, has he lost the lead yet? No, he has not. Whereas Bouchard's not even into the last turn yet. And Coxon is now rolling. So we'll see what happens here. It's a drag race. Who's going to win? Heading down to the, it's going to be very close, actually. Coxon has, no, it's not actually. Coxon comes out, retains the lead with the pit stop. Bouchard is in 2nd. But you would assume that Bouchard is going to be taking a stop. Another yellow flag up here. Not sure what this is for. Somebody off the track, but Bouchard is in a frustrating position now. He sees the leader in front of him, but of course one would figure that he has to stop too. But Jules is definitely on it. He sees an opportunity here, so maybe he is. Maybe he has an odd strategy we're not aware of. But in any case, that was a tire stop for Coxon. Raywardall continues in 3rd. Del Piccolo 4th. Amaral 5th. Hilla in 6th. Rocha 7th. Nilsson 8th. 9th is Grant Riddall, and 10th is David Saber. Boss is all the way down to 11th after his pit stop. So. Different strategies playing out here. We're going to have to see whose is the best one when the race is over. Coxon retained that lead all the way through his pit stop. And it appears that Jules may be trying to challenge Coxon on the tires that he has, but if this is any indication, it's not going to work, because Coxon's already pulling away and building that lead back up again. Into the first turn. 3rd and 4th there. Raywardall and Del Piccolo. 5th is Amaral. Amaral having an excellent drive. I don't believe he's made a stop yet. He advanced to 5th place when Juha made his stop. And he's got Tim Hill not too far behind him. Rocha having another nice drive in 7th place, possibly points at the end of this one for him. Grant, actually, in spite of the issues he's been having, is up to 8th place. That's pretty impressive. But Grant has shown that he can do that. He's shown that he can come back from adversity quite quickly in a number of Grand Prix, not just this one. 9th, Nilsson. 10th is David Saber. 11th is Juha, and he's actually being stalked now by his teammate. This is interesting. Jonathan Assercliffe, who is not stopped yet. I'm fairly certain. I don't know if there are any team orders today for Maranello, but there you got both Ferraris in the same shot. Assercliffe right with Boss. I don't know if he's going to attempt to overtake or not, but in any case, both Ferraris running together here. Juha doesn't seem to be in too much of a hurry to hunt down Saber here, but Assercliffe's right there. You may see a situation here where Assercliffe takes the spot and tries his hand at Saber, but so far it's staying the way it is. Yellow flags once again, so we're having a lot of cars going off track here as it appears. Oh, that was a Brabham. That was a Brabham. We need to see a replay of this. Was that Del Piccolo? No, it was not. It was most likely Grant Riddall. It was. And it appears he's out of the race. Let's run this back a little bit and see what precipitated this incident as the dust cloud dissipates. Uh-oh, there's Alan Santo. Could these two have been involved in some kind of a altercation? Yeah, it appears they did. Let's see. Look at it from Grant's point of view. This is not for position. He basically runs into the back of the right rear of Alan Santo. I guess he was expecting, because Grant here is, it looks like he was expecting to give Santo to give him some kind of ground, but he didn't. That's kind of an odd one. I'm not sure how that happened, but in any case, Grant loses his front wing. Santo is able to continue on. I don't know if he has any damage to his right rear. But Grant obviously lost, and that's it. Grant's out of the race. So that's kind of an odd accident there. I'm not sure how to call that one because I think Grant was expecting Santo to do something that he didn't do. Cars making pit stops now. Quite a few. And look here, Del Piccolo is definitely closing on Ray Riddall. We saw it earlier, and it was a little bit more space between the two of them. Now there's definitely an opportunity here for Gabriel to advance his position. Look at this. He's trying to get great purchase off the corner. He may just do it. Yeah, he gets good acceleration off the corner. Sizing up Ray Riddall. He's a little too far back to attempt it here. Yeah, he's not going to attempt to overtake here. And Bouchard is losing ground to Coxon to the tune of about maybe a half a second a lap. He lost, he's now 3.15 seconds. So Coxon in firm control of this race. We have not seen a Williams do this well in a race so far this season. But certainly looking really good in the hands of Richard Coxon here as he comes through to, looks like he's got a couple of cars to lap here. One of them, John Team. John makes room for him very courteously. This next car in line is Giovanni Centorami's car. The Tyrrell. Pulls out, overtakes. So back markers are being very courteous for Richard here, not giving him any trouble, which is great. Del Piccolo still looking for an opportunity here to get by Ray Riddall. Coming to his favorite spot in a moment here that he might use to get by. Heading left here, and now up a hill. And here he's trying to get the best purchase he can off the corner. But still too far back to really take a shot at Ray, and I think Ray's using some boost there as well. And Hill is making his stop now. So, and Santo coming in. I'm guessing that was probably for damage from the incident that he had with Grant. But Tim Hill making his stop now, and he's down to 7th at this point. but others are presumably going to be making their stops at some point here. So Amaral looks like he made his stop because Amaral's all the way down to 10th. Yes, Amaral is in the pits. So Amaral makes his stop, and he drops down to 10th place in the order. Ferrari's still glued together here, but others you would think would still have to make a stop at some point here. Hillett in 7th, 6th Nilsson, 5th Rocha. So Rocha rises up the list because of the people who have taken stops. It'll be interesting to see if he makes a pit stop in the ensuing laps here. And Gabriel's still working on Ray Riddall. Ray doing a good job of defending himself on the straight here. Probably just using a bit more boost than Del Piccolo's prepared to use. But Del Piccolo carrying the lone hopes of the Brabham team now in 4th place. And we know that based on what's been happening here, that Ligier is likely going to walk away from this race with no points. And given that situation, Del Piccolo's chance to score points for motor racing developments is even more important. So Nilsson is holding the last points paying position at the moment in 6th. Hill is in 7th. And then look at this, really close battle here still between the Ferraris, between Juha and Jonathan Asselklint. It appears in many cases that Johnny Aces is actually the faster of the two. But I don't know, we'll see what happens here. We know that Juha has stopped. Oh my goodness, Johnny Aces goes around. Oh no. He's got to be careful here. He doesn't want to get into somebody's path, but he looks like he's going to rejoin in 10th place. Looks like he lost a position there to Amaral. Amaral got around him. Let's look at a replay of this. Just got on the power a bit too soon or a bit too hard, and Amaral sneaks by. Oh my goodness, there was actual contact there between Amaral and it was Coxon, the leader, got by first, and then Amaral, I don't think Jonathan saw Amaral coming and just glanced off the side of him. Hopefully Amaral can continue without any damage. But Jonathan rejoins the race, currently being shown in 9th place. So someone else must have taken a pit stop here. Well, Amaral actually lost the positions back, which is interesting. Maybe he is suffering from some kind of damage following that altercation with Asselklint. I don't know. Currently running 11th. Del Piccolo down to 6th, so apparently he's made his stop. And Ray is in the pits now, so there you go. Now let's see if Ray can get out ahead of Del Piccolo. Nilsson, it appears, is going to overtake him for 4th. There goes Nilsson into 4th. And here comes now. Ray is going to maintain 5th place ahead of Del Piccolo, so they'll go back to their scrap they had before, albeit with a Haas Lola in front of them this time. So that brings Nilsson in the Haas-Lola all the way up to 4th place, but he has yet to pit, as far as I can tell. So, and I guess, and Rocha is in 3rd. That's another thing that we that conveniently slipped by us. So he's been moving up the order, and to our knowledge, has not stopped yet. So he's this is the best run that he's had so far in this series. Highest up the order that he's been, as far as I can remember, in this Lotus. So it's so the Lotai are running 2nd and 3rd now, respectively, with Coxon in the lead for Williams. And he's got a massive gap between himself and his teammate, 55 seconds, in fact. The gap between Bouchard and the leader, Coxon, is still increasing, 15.3 seconds. So unless Coxon makes some kind of a huge mistake, I think Bouchard's pretty well relegated to 2nd place. He could come in for tires now and have an easy ride to the finish. He's got so much room between himself and his teammate. But he probably has other ideas in mind, as there is that looked as if it was a Benetton off. I couldn't see whether it was Hilla or Portiero. Let's go back here. It was definitely Portiero, because Hilla is still running in 7th. But look at this. Look at how close it's getting now between Del Piccolo. Oh my goodness! Del Piccolo touches the back end of Ray Radal and has a very awkward spin in the middle of that complex, but he's able to keep it going. Well, that's a gift from that's manna from heaven for Ray Radal. He's going to be able to continue on, and that keeps Del Piccolo from breathing down his neck, at least for a while. And now Tim Hilla might have a chance to get by Del Piccolo. I don't think. Oh, Del Piccolo's made another mistake. He runs across the track there. So clearly something is not right in that Brabham cockpit. And I doubt he had much damage from that tap. It was just an incidental tap with Ray, and he paid the price Del Piccolo did. But now they're coming around. Oh my goodness, that was Portiero, who's probably still dealing with damage from his off that he had. Yeah, he's actually sans front wing. And Tim Hilla now is looking for an opportunity to capitalize on the difficulties that Del Piccolo's having. And as we've always, Alberto has found us saying, that the two spots that are fought for the most in a Grand Prix usually are 3rd place, because it's the last podium spot, and 6th place because it's the last spot that gets points. So Tim definitely wants to get by Del Piccolo here so that he can pick up 1 point. There's still quite a lot of race to go. We're only on lap 40 out of 77. So the race has definitely got a ways to go yet. Apparently Dave Miller is also out of the race today. Parked his Ocella for the time being. So Nilsson continuing on here. He's definitely giving a very good showing for Haas-Lola. I'm not at all surprised, though, to be honest, that he's where he is. I figured that midfield cars might be able to compete at this race, just because of the fact that absolute power is not necessarily the most important thing. Terminal velocity, things like that, not the most important factors when running on the Hungaroring. There's Amaral behind Bouchard, who is in 2nd place. This is not a battle for position. But as we've seen often with Amaral, he will fight to get around a car regardless of what the position of that car is. So this could be a potentially dangerous situation for Bouchard, because Amaral may just continue to harry him even though there's nothing really to be gained. If I were Bouchard, quite frankly, I'd let him go, just so you don't have to deal with it. But we'll see what happens here. Bouchard definitely is running on older tires than Amaral's running on. Amaral made up stop, so I would say that Amaral's tires are in better shape for sure. John Team out of the race. Not sure what precipitated this. Let's see if we can get a replay. No, he's in the garage. So this took a while ago. This took place quite a while ago, so unfortunately, Team out of the race. And you see Centurami making a stop there. That drops to the 13th. Here comes Del Piccolo, but that's not a pass for position coming up. That is a lapping situation. So it looks like Jules is holding his own against Amaral, so hopefully that won't be a big problem for him. Although Amaral definitely still hitting that boost, trying to hang with the second place car for some reason. We'll see what happens here. Coxon coming up to lap a few cars here. He's on lap number 43 now. That's Hilla. So there are only 7 cars on the lead lap now. That's the pace that Coxon has been putting up in the Nigel Mansell Williams Honda. A little bit of a bottleneck here, but I'm sure that Coxon has it well in hand. Are we going to see a 3-wide situation here? Not really, but a couple of cars got by there. Looks like Coxon's going to wait to get Hill on the other side of this turn. Is running, or Lowtie running second and third. Anders holding his own in fourth place with Ray Riddall behind him a little ways. Del Piccolo trying to recover from that incident he had earlier. And Hill has actually fallen a ways back from Del Piccolo, and he's in 7th. 8th and 9th of the 2 Ferraris of Juha and Jonathan. Amaral is 10th. The lone Ligier at this point is Oscar Team, but it looks doubtful that he's going to be able to score points today. So that really is too bad. It looked like it was going to be a good day for Ligier Team, but it just didn't materialize. So there's a lack of. Oh, hang on. Let's see. No, this is. Actually, this is Janik going for the pits here to make his stop. He's 14th right now. And Drexler's a little ways back, so he should be able to make that stop without too much trouble. This is probably a good time to do the trivia question since there's not a lot of action on circuit. So the trivia question was, Mercedes engines have won the Hungarian Grand Prix a record 13 times. Which engine manufacturer is second to Mercedes with 9 Hungarian Grand Prix wins? Is it A, Renault, B, Ferrari, or is it C, Honda? Time is up. Let's see if there's any replies on the chat. Barry Lynn says C for Honda. Any other takers? Mark also says C. Yunt says A. Well, as it turns out, the correct answer is A, Renault. 1990, that was when Thierry Boutsen won. 1993, then 95 through 97, then 03, 2010, 2014, 2021. So back to the race here, and the Ferraris are still running together with Boss in front in 8th place, Hillett in 7th, Del Piccolo 6th. He's still struggling to get back that spot that he lost from Ray. But actually, this is interesting. He's closing up on Nilsson here, and this is a battle for position here. Nilsson's tires might start to be giving him some trouble. Heading on the straightaway now. Back marker in the just up the road here, Portiero. See if this gives Ray any opportunity to get closer to Nilsson. No, it will not, as Portiero gets out of the way in a very opportune fashion. But you can see still Ray is it does appear to be closing on Anders Nilsson in the Lola. So a Ford-powered car versus the TAG-powered McLaren. And Nilsson holding on here. But Ray maybe reeling him in little by little by little here. We'll have to wait and see what happens. And you can see Del Piccolo now has closed back up on Ray. So that battle may resume after Del Piccolo had that incident in the slow part of the track where he just tapped Ray in the gearbox. Not anything that caused Ray an issue. I'm sure he felt it, but it caused Del Piccolo to go into a very lazy slide, and he lost a lot of time. So he's clawed all that time back now, and is now on the back door of Ray, as we can see. Actually, this looks like the hotter battle than the one we were just looking at. Yeah, for sure. Yep, Del Piccolo wants that top 5 position. But Ray is countering, looks like, a boost here, perhaps. So the order at the front remains the same. Coxon, and then the two low tie of Jules Bouchard and Luciano Rocha. Nilsson in his Lola is 4th, and we're looking at the battle here between 5th and 6th. Ridal and Del Piccolo. Hillett is in 7th, hoping to get a points bank position at some point here. Actually, here comes the leader, Coxon, to lap these cars. So only 6 cars on the lead lap now, about to be less than that, as Coxon is approaching Del Piccolo and Ray. Now this is interesting. They're embroiled in their own very close battle here. Are they going to take a break from that and realize, oh, here comes the leader, we got to make some room, and then go back at it? Or will they be so embroiled in their battle that they won't realize that, oh my goodness, you have boss out of the race. Let's see what happened here. Something went wrong. Here's the car off the track. Now, is this a engine failure of some kind? Because it looks like he just pulls off the track. Yes, the engine is silent in the car, so I would assume that that's a engine failure for the Ferrari. Very unfortunate. Yep, he comes to a stop. So that promotes Johnny Aces to 8th place, Amaral to 9th, Sabre to 10th. And Boss is going to continue to tumble down the order here. That's really too bad. Guess he was just pushing that car a little too hard. So Coxon here weaving his way through back markers. Now he's placed himself between Ray Ridal and Del Piccolo. So that battle is on hold for the moment. And once... right, we are back. My apologies. That was a internet failure on my end, so the internet has been very spotty recently for me, so it makes me feel like we need to... oh my goodness, don't tell me again. Oh, no, that's something else entirely. It scared me for a second. In any case, we are back online as best we can be. And... oh my goodness. All right, things look like they're solidifying now. But Coxon's still in the lead with 22 laps to go. I apologize for the issue there with the broadcast, but we're back up and running now, it appears. Coxon continuing to lead here. And as I've mentioned before, this is one of the few situations here where we've seen a Williams at the front doing this well, and here he comes now through to complete the 54th lap onto 55. So 11 laps to, or 22 laps to go now. This is a very long race, and probably due to the fact that it has so many corners in it. But it does run 300 kilometers, so this probably is going to be one of the more tiring races on the calendar now that I think about it. So our telemetry, as you might have noted, has failed because we exited the race due to the internet connection issues. So really all we have for you is the order at this point. We don't have the distance between, but it appears that Jules is definitely still very far behind in the order. His teammates still in third place. Fourth is Nilsson. Fifth, Del Piccolo. Sixth is Tim Hilla. Yeah, we don't have telemetry on actual distances right now, so I apologize for that. But Tim Hill is in sixth. Ray is seventh. Johnny Ace is overtaking Chacon here in a lapping effort. Now he's trying to close in on Ray Radal. Francisco Amaral is in ninth place, and 10th is David Saber. So ignore the pit stop stuff that's being put up there. There's no pit stops happening. This is just a result of us being out of the stream for a bit and coming back into it. So I'm just glad we were able to keep it on the same internet stream address so that in the end everything gets packaged into one. Yes, maybe it was the camera gremlins. I don't know, David, but I definitely am going to be looking to contact my internet provider after this race and see what's going on. But in any case, not much has changed. Gabriel still trying to close up to, looks like Nilsson. So really, it looks like while we were away, Ray was the one who befell, actually had some kind of an incident that we didn't see. And he's all the way down in seventh place, because before he was ahead of Del Piccolo, and now he's out of the points in seventh. So that seems to be the biggest change that has occurred so far during that picture interruption. Oh, Luciano Rocha off the... Oh, no! Luciano out of the race. Let's see if we can find out what happened here. Oh, goodness, this looks like an engine failure. It is. You can hear the flames licking in the back, so it is an engine failure for Rocha. That's really too bad, because he was running third. That was his best effort of the year so far. Oh, that really is going to smart. That's too bad. So, but it does mean that it's going to allow some people to get up into the points. Ray is now back into the points now in 6th place after he had some kind of off-camera incident that we didn't see. He is following Tim Hill. This is a battle for 5th place, and then behind now the lone Ferrari remaining, Johnny Aces, is in 7th place. So this is going to heat up here in the next few laps, I think. Ray definitely has designs on getting by Hilla. Del Piccolo, through all the drama we've seen, is soldiering on in 4th, and Anders is 3rd now because of the demise of Rocha. So we could see a Haas Lola driver on the podium, which would be a rare sight indeed. So Nilsson in an excellent spot here with not too much distance to go. Del Piccolo, now it'll be interesting to see if Del Piccolo, who just set the fastest lap of the race at 1:32.431, it'll be interesting to see if Del Piccolo can lure in, I said it backwards, I said rule when I should say lure, lure in Anders Nilsson. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Hilla is continuing. But he's got Ray Riddall right behind him, so this could develop into something interesting here. Oh no! Hilla has spun the car! No! Hilla spins the car and he loses 2 positions down to 7th. Now he's got to reverse back. Oh my goodness. With cars oncoming, this is very dangerous, but Hilla is all the way down to 8th place after that. Let's take a look at a replay of what happened here. Hilla just gets on the power too soon and loses 2 spots right there. So that's really too bad, but that means that now Johnny Aces is into the points in 6th place, and Ray in 5th place, so now Johnny Aces has a chance to get up into the top 5 here. Yeah, he's definitely closing here. And he got by. Or no, wait, he didn't. No, Ray has just pulled out some distance. I thought I missed a pass there being on replay, but no, Ray is in front of Jonathan still. But this battle is not over. Back now from Ray's car. That Johnny lost a lot of room there. I wonder what happened. He's looking away for a moment, but yeah, he's definitely, something's not right there. He slowed up by quite a lot. Not sure what happened, but that was a big break for Ray. He's now pulling away. So once again, we don't have telemetry here as far as distance between cars, so we're gonna have to rely on just visual reference. but my guess is that Del Piccolo is closing on Nilsson simply because of the fact that he has set the fastest lap of the race. Yeah, he is definitely. Yeah, you can see that there is a closure there. So that third place for Anders Nilsson may not be entirely solid. We'll see what happens. He's definitely closing. Yeah, kudos to Del Piccolo for making this car work on a circuit like this. But definitely, Anders is in the crosshairs now. Alan Santo is citing engine failure. His reason for retirement. So, if we were closer to the end of the race, I would say maybe Nilsson could outlast Del Piccolo, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. We'll see what happens here. Piccolo sizing him up now for sure, looking for a way to get by. It's probably going to be on the long straight, but who knows? He seems to be definitely much faster than Anders in this section of the track. Oh! He almost did the exact same thing there that he did to Ray Radal a while ago. Did Del Piccolo. He almost ran into the back of Anders in the same spot. He doesn't want to repeat that problem because that cost him a lot of time last time he did that. And in actual fact, I think he might have actually cost himself some time in that exchange. Nothing actually happened, but it looks like he just overextended himself a little bit. Now he's backed up a little bit from Nilsson. Interesting. Asserclin is closing a little bit, but not very much on Ray. All right, now it's back on again here. Del Piccolo looks like he's got his legs back, his sea legs, and he's trying to catch Nilsson again. Right along the outside there, and he gets him. Now what happened to Nilsson? Is Nilsson out of the race? It would appear that he is. Oh my goodness, what happened? Did an engine go? It would appear that an engine let go for Nilsson. Yeah, there it is. Engine failure for Nilsson. That is incredibly bad luck. Oh, man. So we were having a lot of engine failures late in the race here, which is going to provide points for people Further down the order, that promotes Del Piccolo to third. Well, he was already by him. Fourth is now Ray Rodolph. Fifth is Johnny Aces. Sixth is Francisco Amaral. So after all the drama he's had, he's able to get back up the order. May yet come away with a points-paying position here. And Nilsson in the garage. Sabre is eventually going to take seventh. Yeah, he takes seventh now. And Hilla is actually in the pits again, assuming he stopped at all. Seems a bit odd to be stopping this late in the race. Apparently he had some kind of an issue, but this is a long stop. Apparently damage that he is repairing. But that puts him out of contention for any kind of a points-paying position. Oscar, credit to him for continuing on despite the bad day that the Ligier team have been having. He is in 10th place in his number 26 car. Giovanni Cinerami 11th. Janik is in 12th, just being overtaken by Bouchard. And Drexler is 13th, so this is actually still a battle here between Janik and Drexler for 12th place. Not a points-paying position, but it's a position nevertheless. Bruno Chacon soldiering on in 14th place. And I believe that's the last car that's running right now is Bruno. So there's a lot of distance between Del Piccolo and Jules Bouchard, so I doubt there's going to be much of a chance there. The question becomes, well, you know what? I just realized we don't have the telemetry here to give us an indication of how many laps there are to go. If I'm right, 54, so we're on 55 now, but we've been on 55 for a long time, so it's my guess that I'm going to have to look for another possible indication of lap being completed. So hang on 1 second with me here. I'm going to look at the timing chart to see if that gives me the laps to go, and that'll tell us, because obviously the 55 out of 77 is frozen. And there are indeed 65 laps now complete, or they are on lap 65 according to Live Racers. So thank Live Racers for giving us the information we need. So Coxon is now on lap 66, so there are 11 laps to go in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Del Piccolo out of the race. How did this happen? Is this another barbecue? My goodness. All the drama happening at the end here, and it's engine failure related, it appears. Yes, the engine is silent as he coasts uphill. Del Piccolo out of the race too. That's incredibly gut-wrenching. Oh man. So that now promotes Amaral up to 4th place. Ray Radal is in 3rd, Amaral 4th. 5th is David Sabre. 6th, Gabriel Del Piccolo, but he's going to fall down the order. And Johnny Aces is out of the race. Is that an engine failure? Could very well be. Oscar team is now 8th. So maybe Oscar's going to score points after all, when all this is said and done. My goodness. Yeah, it means Oscar's going to get up to 6th place here. Watch the 8 there as he streams by the pits. 8. Well, he may have to make up a lap here, but that's incredibly bad for... Yeah, well, there. Yes, Oscar is now in 6th place. He's being scored as a 6th place car. So... incredible how fortunes can change here. Sabre is in 5th. Amaral, that's impressive. He's withstood all this nuttiness to be in 4th place. So we could be looking at a very, very profitable day for Williams overall, with the driver leading flag to flag, possibly, or light to checker, and a car that's running fourth. Very rare to see both Williams in the points, if at all, in this series so far. Ray doing okay here, and Jules soldiering on. So you got to still wonder about these people, if they have any problems with their engine or if they've pushed it too far. But to the best of my knowledge, we are now working lap 67 out of 77, so so this should be the start, lap 68, and 10 laps to go. I'm now having failure with live racers, so I'm having a hard time discerning who's on what lap now. But if what I'm reading is correct, we have 10 laps to go at this point in the race. There's Oscar team in 6th place, and he's actually faster than the 3rd place car of Radal, and Radal's going to let him go by. Smart move. There's no point in fighting him. But Oscar is going to come away possibly with a point here for 6th place. That's pretty impressive given everything that happened. Amaral out of the race. My guess is that this is also engine related. My goodness. Unbelievable. So the cars are just dropping like flies. Saber is in 4th. 5th is going to be Oscar. He's now scored in 5th place, actually. 6th, Amaral dropping down the order, but that means Centorami could score points for Tyrrell in his 3rd consecutive race. That would be really an amazing accomplishment if he's able to do it. But he is currently in 7th. Eventually, he's going to be scored in 6th once he catches up to Amaral's car in terms of number of laps completed. So we now have the McLarens of Ray Radal and David Saber running 3rd and 4th in this race. Oscar team in 5th, and 6th, just in a few seconds here, will be Giovanni Centorami. So it's another example of sticking with the race and having the race come to you. And we should see Centorami scored in 6th in just a second here as he rounds this corner. And I'm not getting a lot of cooperation here from live racers, so we are a bit at a... it's a bit difficult to tell exactly what lap we're on, but apparently there are 9 laps to go this time by, so it should be 9 to go with the leader right now. .70 being shown in the last refresh, so this is going into lap 71, which means we have 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, and 77. So that would be actually 7 laps to go now, as Coxon dispenses with Bruno Chacon. There's Bruno. There's a Bouchard who runs off the track, makes a mistake, hits one of the curbs, but it looks like he's going to be able to recover with no problem. That was a shaky moment right there as Saber gets by him, unlaps himself. That's not a pass for position. Let's look at a replay of that from inside the car. He hits the curb. That could have gone a lot worse than it actually did because it could have shot him right into those barriers. But very, very lucky is Jules Bouchard to keep going. So Jules isn't going to win today, but a victory by Williams won't affect the point situation terribly, and that means that he will be adding to his points lead. And with both Ferraris not scoring any points, that means that it's just going to continue to add to Bouchard's lead in the championship. So assuming he can get this thing home without it blowing up, which is a big assumption at this point because we've seen just blow up after blow up after blow up in the recent laps. 6 laps to go now. Oh, look at this. Janik is closing in on Drexler. This is a battle for 8th place. So there are other battles going on here that are not necessarily points-paying battles, but still. Seven laps to go. 7. Janik senses an opportunity here to get 7th place from Drexler and possibly points if someone else's engine goes. You can see Coxon, the leader behind this group here. Six laps to go now. And there's, oh goodness, and Janik runs off the track. So there goes that chance to overtake. He gets overtaken by the leader too, but just overextended himself there. Let's take a look at a replay, see what happened here. He actually made contact with Centurami there and ran off the circuit, so maybe just a bit over eager. But that gives Drexler. Drexler is now in 6th place. Centurami is out of the race. My goodness. So cars are just dropping like crazy. If we look at the finish, look, engine. Well, actually, we're not going to get any updates in this group here, unfortunately, because we joined mid-race. But in any case, so now with Centurami out of the race, it looks like Drexler's picked up 6th place. Does that mean that that puts Oscar in 5th, Saber and Rayward all 3rd and 4th, Bouchard and then Coxon. Five laps to go now. Well, it was 5 laps to go last time by, so this time by there'll be 4 for Richard Coxon. points. So Coxon now has just made the best lap of the race here. It shows you how good he is. He's doing that with just a few laps to go. That's how good his car is performing. Yep, report from we have a report now from Johnny Aces, who says he loves this place, but sadly the additional heat on race day meant the Ferrari engines were not so happy being here. Running marginal the whole time, so that's a confirmation of what we thought happened. Another engine failure. So it appears that there are 2 laps to go now in the Hungarian Grand Prix, and I know this is kind of a subdued finish here, but just reflecting on what's happened today, this is not, I mean, it's great. It's a great day for Coxon, great day for those who are finishing, but not the happiest of circumstances, as many of you can understand. Bouchard continuing on. Ray Riddall is in 3rd. Oscar Team still in 4th place. That's an incredible recovery drive from him. Sabre out of the race, which is going to promote Drexler to 5th. So engines are just not finishing this race. Unbelievable. And that may mean that Janik gets in the points even after that off-course excursion. I don't think Janik has scored any points this year so far. So we're going to have to watch very closely here. Chacon is in 8th, and that may be the last car running. That's it. Yeah, engine for Sabre. So in the end, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars running. Unbelievable. It's assuming that they all make it to the finish. And Coxon slowing down, so apparently that is the end of the race. Right there. Richard Coxon has won the Hungarian Grand Prix. Jules Bouchard is going to finish in 2nd place. And he's in no particular rush to get there, but he's soldiering on. But this is going to be good for Jules in terms of the points situation. Neither of the Ferraris finished, and they were the closest people to him in terms of points. So it means that means that by finishing in 2nd place, he's going to add 6 points to his total. It's going to give him 57 points, and Yuha and Asaklinth will both stay at 34 and 29. As here comes Jules off the corner to take second place. Third place, Ravedal. He was already across the line, apparently lapped. Fourth place for Oscar Team, which is an incredible recovery drive. Fifth for David Saber. So 2 McLaren points-paying positions. Sixth